Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on business energy costs and how you can make savings using our purchasing group. My name is David Weston and I chair the Bed and Breakfast Association. We're the UK trade association for B&Bs, guest houses and small independent hotels. We're a non-profit membership body with no shareholders, and our only purpose is to inform, support and represent our members. Our subscribing members qualify for a range of membership benefits, and one of the latest is our purchasing group, which was launched in April, giving members a range of discounts on various suppliers. It's a way of pooling our buying power to help members save on their business costs. Hundreds of members have already joined our purchasing group, which is free to our members. It's one of the many benefits of membership at the Bed and Breakfast Association. And it's fair to say that our purchasing group has been very well received. This is an email we had the other day from a member. And she says, wow, I'd just like to say thank you for introducing us to the purchasing group. We're saving oodles of pounds, which in the present climate is a godsend. It's always great to read comments like that from our members. And this webinar is another example of our mission to help B&Bs, guest houses, save costs and improve their businesses and their profitability. In this case, focusing on business energy costs. This webinar is being recorded and can be watched again from the B&B Association's webinars page. Everyone who's registered this morning will receive an email from us with a link to the recording and details of how to join our purchasing group. If you have a question, do post it in the Q&A section. We may not be able to reply to every question during the webinar, but we'll try and answer any outstanding questions in our follow-up email to you or on the webinars page later. So let's get started. My guest today is Gurvinder Patara, an expert in collective purchasing who runs purchasing for business, which operates the B&B Association Purchasing Group. Now I'm going to hand over to Gurvinder to introduce himself and give a brief presentation to us about the business energy market and how businesses like B&Bs can benefit through the collective buying offered by the B&B Association Purchasing Group. Then we'll have a Q&A session after that. So Gurvinder, over to you.
Thank you very much, David, and thanks for providing the opportunity to present to your members today. My name is Gurvinder Patara. I'm the Managing Director of Purchasing for Business. We specialise in helping small to medium-sized businesses across the country. We have over 3,000 members working with us already. So, and we're proud to be partnered with the Bed and Breakfast Association to provide our buying benefits. So for the next 15-20 minutes, I'm going to provide you with an overview, a quick brief overview of purchasing for business and the benefits. Then I'm going to focus on energy, and the webinar is going to focus on what's happening in the markets and how we could help you your members save money, review their contracts and share some best practice. So I'll just share my screen now so we can look at the presentation. And hopefully you'll all be able to see my screen. David, can you see that?
Yes, that's working, I think, Gurvinder. Yes, thank you.
Perfect. So I'm just going to start off by giving a brief overview of purchasing for business. As I said, we specialise in helping the self-catering sector in terms of members similar to yours in terms of group buying power. And that's through our buying power through our supply chain, over 100 suppliers. And over my career, we've delivered over £100 million worth of savings for our members, clients in lots of different areas. And as David mentioned, we became the Bed and Breakfast Association Purchasing Group in April, and we already have over 200, well, last count was 215 members join us, which is great in just such a short period of time. And we provide discount savings on a wide range of products and services, which I'll cover in a bit more detail. And just to kind of clarify, this is a free benefit to all B&B Association members that are paid as part of their membership as a new benefit. Okay. So in just highlighting some of the categories and areas that we can support you, we're going to be focusing on utilities during this webinar, but there's a flavour of some of the other areas that we can provide cost savings and benefits. And that's done through, as I said, our buying power, our commercial rates, our volume, and access to our supply chain. And again, some of your members have had the benefit of using us and receiving savings already. Some of the most popular discounts for membership is the following, which you see on the screen here. So 10% off at TradePoint and B&Q, and our 10% is in addition to any in-store promotion. So if B&Q have got 20% off kitchens, bathrooms, or paint or plants, you get an extra 10% off with us. It's a physical card that's sent in the post, and all you would need to do is when you go to your B&Q, you show them your card, they scan it, and it takes off an extra 10% on off that. That's off everything. And that is also available to any staff that you may have as a new staff benefit that, again, is very, very popular. There's also a 5% discount at Screwfix. Again, that's an email that you're sent directly from Screwfix with a code. That code you can use online, in store, to get your 5% off everything. And then you've also got a quarterly rebate with Booker or Macro if you have a catering account. So again, just to give you an idea of the buying power and the benefits, to normally get the Screwfix and B&Q discounts, a business would have to spend £100,000 a year to get those. And we know a lot of small to medium-sized businesses don't have that buying power or that spend. So what we do is we help the SME community get access to the discounts and the buying power of some of the bigger boys by buying and working with a company like Purchasing for Business. And again, you know, those benefits you can use for your home and for your business. So it's a double benefit there too. So in terms of, you know, just some high level summary of the benefits, again, help you, especially with the cost of living crisis, the cost of business crisis, in terms of everything that's going up, you know, we can help you review your costs, benchmark your costs, and help you increase your profit margins, because again, that's being challenged in the current climate. We can give you access to our you know, exclusive discounts, and we're an extension of your team basically. So it's something that, you know, we're here to help support and give you access to our expertise of 20 years plus. Now we're going to move on to specifically the energy webinar, and just kind of, as you're probably all aware, energy is very topical, especially during the last 6-9 months. You may have had renewals, or you may have had a renewal coming up soon, and this kind of slide just shares with you what's been happening in the electricity market in particular, and utilities, as you're probably aware, have increased well over 50% during the last 12 months, 15 months, depends on the time frame that you know, you're looking at. But as a guide, if you look at the chart below or on this slide here, from April last year, where we were on average around a 14p per kilowatt hour, it's gone over to over 40p, and it has stabilized, it has come down, but obviously that's gone up for lots of factors, lots of reasons, mainly to do with the war in Ukraine, global demand issues. I'll give you an example. In the UK specifically, a third of the energy in the UK is generated by wind farms and wind power, and that energy generated from wind farms and wind energy was down a third last year. So there was less supply. There was also the incident where the fiber cables coming from France burnt, and that kind of disrupted supply significantly towards the end of the last year. So you'll see in September last year they went up quite sharply, and then obviously from December onwards you've seen it's just been very volatile. And pricing is significantly higher than it has been previously. And to give you an idea, the average kilowatt price per hour in the last 15 months prior to the current situation was around 14 to 16p. The average electric price at the moment is 33p. And the markets are very volatile. It just takes a little bit of news, or somebody having you know, yesterday's news was there's talk about strikes in France, again, spiked the markets. So yeah, so that's where we were, that's where we are today. And it's a huge increase, which you can't necessarily pass on to your guests as a business. So it's an important cost to review. Moving on to the gas part of this, you'll also see here, again, last year, April last year, it was 3p per kilowatt hour, went up to 15, 16, has dropped down, and the average now is 9p. And again, without having a crystal ball here, but it's more likely to not come down anytime soon because there are so many external factors that are determining this whole situation. And the other thing that we do know is that when prices do eventually come down or settle down, it's like most things in this energy market or with petrol, they go up like a rocket, but they come down like a feather. So there is a bit of a lag between, you know, the markets coming down. And a good way of understanding what's happening in the energy markets is just when you go to petrol, you're filling up and you'll see whether your petrol or diesel pricing, what your local station is charging. And if it's coming down, it's a good chance that the markets are coming down. That's why that price is coming down. But I mean, having filled up yesterday at 198, I mean, only 2 weeks ago it was 178. So you kind of think it's got to come down, but it only just seems to be going up. So that's kind of a bit of an overview of where those prices were and what's happening in the market. And you can also see the sheer volatility of those markets during the last 6 to 9 months.
Gurvinder, just wanted to ask while you're going through this, you're talking to clarify specifically about business energy costs, are you, rather than, because some of our members, perhaps the smaller members, may be on a residential tariff, but
yeah,
are you talking about business energy costs?
Yeah, great point, David. And yeah, I just want to clarify, we're able to help you look at your renewal for your business energy contracts. And I appreciate some of your members may not be on residential, maybe on residential rates. And the general rule of thumb that we're in the industry is that if 40% of your energy is being used for business purposes, you may want to look at taking up a business contract. And there are pros and cons of that. And, you know, again, you may want to speak to your accountant in terms of your particular situation. Each case is unique, so on a case-by-case basis. But yeah, just to clarify, this is for business contracts only. Okay.
Thank you.
I thought it'd be useful just to share with you what a typical bill invoice looks like, and again help you understand, you know, what certain things mean. And again, I'm not going to go into exact detail, but the numbering on here is highlights what the elements of the bill or the invoice is made up of. And one of the interesting things that we kind of constantly get asked about is a standing charge. And a standing charge is basically the cost of getting the energy into your building, into your property, and that also is going up. So, you know, it's not dependent on how much energy you're using. A standing charge is purely the connection of getting that energy into your property. So again, the details there in terms of a summary of what is included in your bill, what it means in terms of simple, plain English. Again, you know, sometimes you might get an estimated reading. We'd always recommend that you provide actual readings as much as possible, whether it's monthly, quarterly, depends on if you've got a smart meter. But it's really important that especially, you know, some of these energy companies are holding on to your money where actually, you know, they should be either be passing it back to you because it's your money and you could use it elsewhere. So it's really important that you provide actual readings as frequently as possible. In terms of renewals, typically for the SME community, in terms of contracts, for business contracts, your existing energy provider should contact you 60 to 90 days before your contract expires. Now, that doesn't always happen. And what we're finding, more and more energy companies are leaving it and delaying it as long as possible, purely because the markets are so volatile. They can't give you a fixed rate 3 months out, you know, 4 weeks out. And that's why we've seen a change where people are, or BG or whoever the suppliers are, contacting you a lot nearer your renewal date. So it's really important that you have a record of when your contracts expire. Because again, there is a stat out there that's over 50% of businesses are actually on deemed rates, out of contract rates. And when you go out of contract rates, your standard tariff or your non-contracted rates can be up to 80% higher than what you were paying when you were fixed. So really, really important to remember when your contract is expiring. And also, we'd always recommend you serve notice to your current suppliers because that doesn't mean that you're leaving them. It just means that you have the flexibility and options to move to another supplier should you wish to on the day or the next day when your contract expires. So really, really important tip. We do see a lot of this situation where people forget to give notice or they forget when their contracts expire. So I can only confirm that it's really important that making sure you have those key dates for your gas and your electric documented. It's also just wanted to highlight on this slide actually how the portion of your bills is made up, because it's changed quite significantly. And as you'll see on this graph and this pie chart, 5 years ago, when you were looking at your business energy costs, 70% of your energy costs was made up of your commodity, i.e. what you used, and 30% was made up of duties, tariffs and levies from the government. However, fast forward, 5 years on, and 65% of your energy costs, your business bills, are made up of duties and tariffs of levies that you have no control over. So the smallest portion of your bill, 35%, is based on actually what you're using. And again, it's just an awareness, it's education, because we have a lot of clients that put in LED lighting and do some great stuff for eco reasons, but they don't necessarily see the benefit in the costs coming down. And that's because that LED lighting or whatever they're putting in is only affecting the 35% of what they're using. So again, just to make this aware, and again, that share of 65% of levies, duties and tariffs is all helping fund the green agenda for the government. And so that's why that's been creeping up over time, and it will continue to go up. So on this slide, I just wanted to highlight and give you a bit of awareness around what's the supply chain like in the energy market, because in the last 6-9 months, we've also heard a lot of energy companies going bust, and the government taking on certain contracts or working with individuals to help with their moving them to a different supplier. So the big 6 suppliers, as you'll see there, BG, Scottish Power, Npower, E.ON, EDF, SSE, they're like the big banks that they're relatively safe. And then you got the challengers, OVO Energy, Shell, Octopus and Utilita. And then you have a range of smaller energy firms that just be careful if you are in contact with any of these or working with these, because the market is also in a situation where some of these may not be around in 3 months or 6 months time, but or new ones may come. So just be extra vigilant on the size of supplier that you work with, because there are situations where the smaller firms have tended to go out of business because they just can't compete, and they don't have the infrastructure to survive the current climate.
And Gurvinder, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Is it true that you have access to some energy suppliers that perhaps our members individually might not be able to access?
Yeah, so I was going to cover that a bit later on, but I'll cover it now, Dave. No, that's fine. So just to give you an idea, so when you look at the business community, you've got the large corporates, you've got the SMEs, you've got sole traders, you've got different segments of the business community. And what happens in the energy world, the SME community will have access to certain tariffs based on their size or profile of their business, and that's also varies by sector, so leisure, hospitality, or whatever you want to call it, or retail. But because of our buying power and because of what we have access to corporate rates, which an SME won't have access to. So we have access to more suppliers, more tariffs that an SME wouldn't have access to or be able to see. And that's where another benefit of working with us, because it's having another layer of tariffs that is probably more competitive because of the buying power. So again, great question. And yes, we do have access to tariffs that your members won't be able to have access to. Okay.
Great, thank you.
So again, just kind of on this slide, just want to share with you some of the energy companies over the last 12 months that have gone bust. And you can see it's affected a lot of members, mainly on the domestic market. And we're also finding one of the things that we're seeing in the last few weeks is that energy companies are actually being very selective on what business they want to take on. They're actually saying, thank you, but we don't want to quote for this business because it's in this sector or it's in that sector. So it's not as straightforward where you got 5 quotes, 6 quotes and you made a choice. The energy companies almost kind of pulling rank and calling the shots, which is highly unfair, but that's just the market we're living in at the minute. Okay, so I thought it'd also be useful to share with you a quick update on the water side of things, if you weren't already aware. But in just like energy and electric and gas, you can shop around for water in Scotland and England. So water was deregulated in Scotland in 2008 and the same in 2017 for England. So Wales is still yet to be deregulated, but just for your information, so if you are have a water bill and you're with whoever you are, Anglia Water, you can shop around. And to give you an idea of indicative savings, the savings that we're delivering in Scotland is in the region of 5 to 15%, because that market's a bit more mature because it deregulated earlier. And the savings that we see in England are 3 to 7% as a guide. And obviously every case is different. But again, in terms of efficiencies, savings, helping improve your bottom line, helping you manage your costs, your budget, it's another area that if you've not already looked at, it's worth exploring and reviewing. And we can do that for you. So in terms of the energy side of things, how we can help, and the best practice approach we have, we can help you review your energy costs. We can help kind of when you're so busy with guests and repairing this or checking people in, we can send you reminders when did you know your energy contract's due to expire in 6 months, 3 months. We have a service where we can provide a reminder service just to let you know that your energy contracts are due to expire within a certain period of time. And what we do is we utilize our buying power. And as I mentioned to David earlier, it's having access to tariffs and suppliers that you wouldn't otherwise have. And I'll give you an example. So yesterday, we were working with a small hotel that had a renewal from British Gas, and they came to us and said, look, we've had it's a huge increase. Can you help us? And we said, look, yep, happy to. Our British Gas contract was actually, and our pricing was lower than theirs. So same supplier. It was just that we had access to a different tariff and better pricing. So that really benefited the client because he didn't necessarily want to move, but we got them a better pricing. So it's a free health check in effect. We're kind of giving you some benchmarking, and we can also buy energy 12 months in advance, which can be an advantage if the market's coming down. Not so much an advantage if the market is volatile and what have you, because you might want to just wait for the market to settle or play it month by month or however long period you've got. So, we buy over £5 million worth of energy a year. So it's a significant volume. And as I said, we've already worked with a number of B&Bs. We've had some great testimonials and feedback on the benefit, the service, the speed. It's not selling. It's what we're doing is we're giving you the options and saying, look, here are your options. Here's 10 suppliers, here are their terms, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. You make a decision. You can compare it with your renewal. You can compare it with going online, however you want to do it. We're just giving you the options. The decision is yours. So in terms of how this all happens, and if you are interested in an energy health check, all we'd need is an email to us saying, I'd like an energy health check for your business. So we take the business details down. It's, whichever B&B it is, email us your invoices, your recent invoices. And the reason why we require your invoices is because your invoices contain information that we require to obtain quotes for you, but also checking the type of meter you have and understanding all the facts that we need to make sure that when we provide a quote, it's like for like and it's apples and apples, because that information is on your invoices. We just take that information, we plug it in into the pricing model and speak to brokers, etc., and we give you your pricing. And so what we do is we'll also check when your contract expires, because if your contract's got 6 months to go and the markets are volatile, we'll say, look, at the minute the markets are very volatile, you've got 6 months to go, let's track the market for you. And if there is an opportunity where the market drops and there's pricing has weakened, we'll come back to you and let you know and say, now may be a good time to review it. And here's your renewal options. So, that's another part of the service. So if you have got a renewal offer and, for example, we then provide you our pricing, you've got something to benchmark against. And basically, if you want to proceed with us, again, going back to the process. So you send us your invoice. We send you back an email with your renewal options, pricing, suppliers, terms. You come back and advise us whether you want to like to proceed or I'd like to go with British Gas for 3 years, whatever your decision is. We organise the contracts, we get them signed up, we get the pricing and the contract locked in, and we confirm that back during contract's been accepted, the pricing's been locked in, and then you'll start to get the communication from the relevant suppliers regarding your new contract. So that's quite straightforward. As I said, if you've got more than 12 months of your contract remaining, and if you want to contact and say, look, I know my contract's got 15 months to go, but it'd be good if you sent us a reminder when it's due for renewal, because actually we're really busy, and it's good to have that service. So that's something we can provide. So it's not about doing something today, it's adding value at a later date. But as I said on here, before, just to reiterate, it's really important that you give, notice to your existing supplier 30 days before your contract expires. And because we have access to over 30 plus suppliers and of our buying power, we'd be really, really surprised if we can't save you money, reduce costs, but even if just to benchmark your renewals to say, actually, that's a really good rate, bite their hands off, take it and go for it, because actually it's a really good deal. Because sometimes energy companies will do specific deals for retention purposes, as we know, they'll do one-off deals as and when, if the market permits them to do that. So it's really important that you explore that option too. I know David shared with you a testimonial from a member earlier about oodles of savings and what have you. Here's a couple of testimonials from members that we've done their energy for, and Georgina, the owner of Seacroft, contacted us out of the blue in a bit of panic. Unfortunately, had this situation going on, and within 24 hours we'd sorted it all out, saved money, and she couldn't be more grateful, because again, wearing different hats, juggling different jobs, and sometimes being on a phone call to an energy company for 45 minutes, an hour, whatever long it takes, isn't best use of your time. So again, it's not just the money saving, it's also the time saving and helping everyone work a bit smarter. So there are a couple of recommendations, testimonials, and I'm sure we'll be sharing more with you as and when we get them. So yeah, that's the summary of the energy webinar, Purchasing for Business, who we are, what we do. And as David said, if you've not already registered, and if you're a Bed and Breakfast Association member, you can register using the link on the website. We approve your registration, you get a welcome call. We make it really simple and easy because we appreciate how busy you are. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Gurvinder. Do you want, if you stop sharing your screen now? Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And we've had a few questions from people as things have been going on. One was from Paul. He was asking again about residential. Perhaps you missed the early part of the webinar about whether you cover residential, which you don't. It's business that we're covering, but it could be worth him switching to a business rate depending on his own circumstances. And you mentioned you mentioned a rule of thumb: 40% or more of his energy costs are for the business, then it may be worth him switching, but it needs looking at individually. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
And he also asked, Paul asked about council tax and business rates. Now that is not relevant, is it?
In terms of energy?
Yes.
No, not that we've come across council tax, and no, that's, energy, that's a separate category in its own right. Separate
thing. So just the fact that you pay council tax, not business rates, doesn't mean you can't get a business energy deal. No. Yeah. Okay, that's good to clarify. Thank you. And Lynn asked that she just started a 3-year contract with Octopus Energy in April. Does that mean that she is locked into that for 3 years, or is there a way of giving notice to switch to a new supplier?
Unfortunately, once you sign a contract with an energy company, I don't know if you've ever tried reading the T's and C's of their contracts. They are so tight in terms of unable to get out of a contract unless there is a significant breach of performance on their side. But unfortunately, once that contract is signed and been accepted and is live, it's virtually impossible to get out of that contract.
Okay, thank you. And I had a question from Jane. How does this apply to B&Bs who are not registered as a business? Well, I'm not sure what you mean by not registered, Jane. It could be that a lot of B&Bs, a lot of our smaller members are sole traders. They're not limited companies. They still could have a business energy tariff as a sole trader, and then still claim that business cost in their accounts when they're working out tax payable by the business, even though they're not a limited company. Have you anything else to add to that one, Gurvinder?
No, that's absolutely right. So, that's what, as you explained it, David, spot on. So there's not really much I could add to that.
Okay, thank you. And as somebody else has asked, how do purchasing for business get paid? Yep. Would you like to explain that?
Yeah, no. So great question. So again, full transparency. We get paid from our supply chain, whether that's a Screwfix, a Booker. We have rebate agreements in place with them based on our combined volume of spend. So just to branch that out a bit further, purchasing for business is part of a larger group called Procurement Solutions Group. Procurement Solutions Group is also made up of the UK's leading purchasing group for the holiday park sector and also for the hospitality sector. So we have worked with many clients, which means our volume across the group is significant. So that's how it works.
Thank you. So all members need to know is that it doesn't cost you anything extra. Our B&B Association Purchasing Group, Gurvinder, will quote you what you would be paying before you decide to switch, and that's it. There's no extra fee on top of that. They'll be paid out of a small percentage from that supplier. And somebody else has just asked what's the cost of B&B Association membership, and that is £60 a year. So it's £115 a week to be a member of the B&B Association. That covers everything. There are lots of other member benefits. So a lot of members have told us actually that this one benefit, the purchasing group, they can save back much more than that just through this, and there's other things as well. And of course, you have regular emails and information and briefings about regulations, new things the government are doing, like our members heard yesterday, for instance, about a new consultation on so-called short-term lets in England. So we're here to inform you, support you, and represent you, fight your corner with government and regulators. So £60 a year. I'm just keeping an eye on questions as they're coming in. We have time for a couple more, maybe. One from Kat says, I'm with Utility Warehouse. Are there other companies that provide a fuller package than just gas and electricity and include mobile, for instance?
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of similar companies that provide that service, that also do your broadband, your Wi-Fi and other utility related things. That they tend to focus more on the consumer domestic side of things. But again, there are other companies that do that.
That's great. Okay, well, and I had another question about oil. A lot of our members in very rural areas, they use heating oil in tanks that are delivered by tankers. Are you able to help with that or not?
Yeah, so are we talking LPG?
I guess so. The question just mentioned sort of tanks or heating oil.
Yeah, so if it's LPG can be delivered in tanks. It can be delivered in cylinders. So we work with Flowgas is our LPG partner. And again, that market has also been very volatile. It's hard to get a fixed price. But again, if somebody wants to follow up with us separately on that, they can email at info@purchasingforbusiness.co.uk and we can discuss that in more detail if it is LPG.
Thank you. And we'll just one more question, then we'll wrap up. The question was, how do we go about getting these discounts that Gurvinder was talking through earlier? Well, just to recap and explain that the discounts are for the B&B Association Purchasing Group, which Gurvinder is running. It's free to members of the B&B Association. So if you are a member of the B&B Association, all you do is go into our member page using your member password, and you'll see you can click on the link there and sign up. It only takes a minute or two, or sign up in any of our member emails, which you'll find a link in to sign up. But we sent one a day or so ago, for instance. Or if you're not a member yet, if you join the association, as I say, it's £60 a year. In our welcome email, you'll have a link to how to sign up for the purchasing group. Or obviously, if you go onto our member page, you can sign up that way. So it's free to our members. And if you're not a member yet, it's £60 a year, and it'll be one of the benefits. So I hope that's explained all that. And I'd just like to thank Gurvinder for a very informative session. And I hope it's shown viewers that they might be able to benefit from the B&B Association Purchasing Group. So thank you very much, Gurvinder, for your time this morning. And thank you, all of you who are viewing this webinar today, for taking the time. And just to reiterate, you can view it again in due course. We'll put it up on our webinars page on our website, and you'll be able to see it again there. And keep an eye on that page, by the way, for future webinars about other aspects of running a B&B business. And there's already one up there with a recent webinar about tax, capital allowances, and how you can save through there. So keep an eye on our webinars page. And thank you all for joining, and good morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, David.